Hi, I'm Old Norse Specialist Jackson Crawford, and I'm here in Helsinki, Finland with Annabel Laul, who is a native speaker of Estonian. And I began learning, having never seen Estonian that I can recall in my life previously. I began learning Estonian about 48 hours ago when I met you.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the Estonian language and my experiences as an English learner trying to pick up a little bit of it in this video. So, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and your language background. What languages do you speak and how did you learn them?
Well, my mother tongue is Estonian, and when I was about 10 years old, I moved to Finland, and now that's kind of my second language. And then I also know English and Swedish.
And Swedish because of taking classes at a Swedish-speaking school, is that right?
Yeah, because of that, and in Finland you generally have to learn Swedish from very early on. So, yeah.
And let's talk a little bit, just up top. Your first language is Estonian, second is Finnish. What was it like when you were a young girl moving to Finland from Estonia? Were you able to understand a fair amount of Finnish already just from Estonian? Because they seem close, obviously not identical, but how much could you understand at first before you started to learn?
Well, they are really close, but surprisingly little though, because I went straight to school, and even though we have a lot of similar words, there is a lot that's different. So maybe the grammar is really similar, but the words are, you can't really understand it in the beginning.
Sure. And actually it seems to me that in some ways spoken Finnish is more different from Estonian than the way that Finnish is written. Like, it seems like you could figure out if I was speaking like Bible Finnish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I think about in like written formal Finnish, I am, minä olen, right? So in Estonian it's ma olen, right? Or even minä olen, maybe. Yeah. So it seems like that may actually be easier for an Estonian who's never seen Finnish to figure out than the spoken form, which can sound like all kinds of things, right? There's so many dialects of Finnish, but like mä olen or mo or something like that.
Yeah, that's actually true. Finns, I think, tend to shorten the words quite a bit when they speak, so.
Yeah, in ways that you wouldn't expect from the written language at all.
Yeah.
Now, is the same thing true in Estonian? Does the written language differ from the way that you speak the same way that it does in Finland, or do the words on the page look like what you would say more?
I think that it doesn't differ as much as it does in Finnish.
Okay.
So maybe some little differences. For example, minä, ma, that we talked about, but not that much actually.
But looking at people writing Estonian, it seems like a lot of people write ma.
Yeah, that one I don't know about if it's grammatically correct, because I never had the time to learn that.
Oh, sure, right.
In school.
Right. Being younger when you left school, yeah, that's interesting.
But they do tend to do that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, whereas in Finnish that seems not as normal, maybe, because people typically just write minä.
Yeah, you can't. It's a rule that you can't write ma.
Yeah.
And if you want to write the correct way. So.
I actually prefer this about Estonian.
Yeah, I know it's a lot easier.
And for some reason, and I don't know what this is, just my weirdness, I feel like Estonian is almost more intuitive in weird ways than Finnish is. And I don't know how to explain this weird intuitive feeling about it. I guess you could take that as a compliment if you want.
Yeah, I'll take that as a compliment.
Little flyer, little Estonian flag, a little higher than the little Finnish flag. like on this sweet backpack I picked up at Varustelika in Helsinki, Finland. There we go, ka-ching, product placement.
Yeah.
But, okay, how about the reverse? If you speak Estonian to a Finnish speaker, how much do you think a Finnish speaker understands?
They don't tend to understand as much because they don't learn it as much as Estonians learn Finnish.
Oh, that makes sense, because the population difference.
Yeah, and Estonians who are working here tend to work in Finland also a lot because the wages are better. So
makes sense.
That has been kind of a historical thing also, in a way.
Right, that makes sense. As an English speaker, I think that the most challenging thing about Estonian is actually the most challenging thing about Finnish too, and it's distinguishing those short vowels from the long vowels. Now, I think I actually benefit from trying this and learning this, even outside of speaking Estonian and Finnish, because it makes me more conscious of a phenomenon that also is true of Old Norse. And I don't think about it as much when I speak Old Norse because I'm not talking to anybody. But probably if I can get better at this, I can apply it to Old Norse, and it'll make my Old Norse sound better for the nobody who I can talk to. But for me, maybe. There are, I was saying to you earlier, if I say head in English, it's kind of a long-ish vowel, medium long. But if I say just head, right, very short vowel, you would still hear just the word head, right? There's no vocabulary difference whatsoever there. That is absolutely untrue in Estonian and Finnish, right? So, like, for example, I should have thought about this beforehand, but can you think of any words that are separated from short and long?
Still not yet. I'm trying to think about those.
So if kale is language, is kale something else?
Excuse me?
If that's language.
Kale, yes.
Yeah. Is kale something else?
No.
For example?
No, it doesn't mean anything. I'll try to think of something, but
this is another reason why I really like Estonian relative to Finnish, is because I feel like trying to speak Finnish, I constantly hit the wrong word by doing a long versus short vowel.
Yeah.
Including the one that has tripped me up several times and made the bartenders at Sotima laugh. Because I asked for kuusi, which is a spruce flavored drink, and of course kuusi means urine. But thankfully Estonian has not bear trapped me in the same way.
No.
It's another reason I appreciate you.
Thanks.
I am trying to learn verb index.
Mm-hmm.
They are similar to Finnish, but not identical. Let me see if I have learned okay. Could you give me a verb? And I will try, just the form for I something, I.
I'll give you the one work.
Work, okay.
Yeah. So the basic form is töötada.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one I work would be ma töötan.
Ma töötan. And it's a long U.
Mm-hmm.
Ma töötan. Mm-hmm. So ma töötan, I work. Sa töötad, you work. Ta töötab.
Yeah.
He or she works. Me töötame, we work. Te töötate,
Yes.
y'all work. I did something wrong. Oh, now here's the one that I always screw up.
Yeah.
Nad töötavad.
Yes, you got it correct.
Awesome. Okay. Makes me feel a little bit better. And then past tense would it be like ma töötsin?
Töötasin.
Töötasin.
So again, I think it's not kind of, logical here. I don't know.
Well, but
Or is it for you?
I don't know. I was able to guess the C part because I've noticed
Yeah.
that comes up in the past tense of a lot of verbs. Is that pretty common?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I didn't anticipate that ah vowel was also still there. Mm-hmm. So okay, but that's interesting. So I mean, I'm picking up the pattern a little bit 48 hours in.
Yeah.
Okay, so I worked. Mä työtäsin. Okay, you worked. Sä työtäsit.
Yeah.
He or she worked. Ta työtäsib.
Töötas.
Oh, it's just tutas, right? Because the ib isn't there.
Yeah.
That's like ta leges.
Luges.
Red, luges, red.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. That it drops the ending. Okay, me työtäsimme. We worked. Te työtäsitte.
Yeah.
And I think this is interesting. Nad työtäsid.
Yes.
Because it's the same as the second person singular. That's an interesting thing in Estonian, that the second person singular past is the same as the third person plural past. I can't think of another language that patterns those two together. That's a really cool feature.
Yeah.
If you're a dork like me who thinks that kind of thing is like cool, right?
It's easy.
Yeah, it is kind of easy.
Yeah.
It's not so bad. Okay. But one of the really interesting things about Estonian, and it's something that Estonian shares with Finnish, is that to say I don't, there's not like a word not or don't. Instead, there's a verb that you use, right? There's a negative verb, and that's used with the so-called con-negative form of the main verb. Yeah. So this is really different for someone who's, of course, used to Indo-European languages where not is usually an adverb. One thing I've had a lot of trouble doing is anticipating what the con-negative form is. So like if we're using work as an example, is it like, it seems like it's often a very base form of the verb, like työtä, but it might be something else.
It is töötä.
Oh, yes. All right, so it's basically like almost just the root.
Yeah.
Okay. But then, so like to say, like, okay, so like, for example, if Estonian was an Indo-European language, you would expect there to be a word like not, and you would say like, for I don't work, like mä töötän not. Instead, you've got this negative verb, which is ole. No, a.
Ei.
I was thinking about
Yeah.
I am not. It's the a part. So you say mä ei, which is the not, and then töötä, right? So mä ei töötä, I don't work. Sä ei töötä, ta ei töötä, me ei töötä, or is it different in plural?
Me ei töötä. It's the same.
Okay, te ei töötä, nad ei töötä.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit different from Finnish because Finnish changes that, right? It's like n at a.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So Estonian's a little bit friendlier that way to a learner. But I think that's a really, really cool feature that's really different from what you see in Indo-European languages. Well, I know you don't have unlimited time. I did want to ask you to read a little bit from a really cool old Estonian folk song. Now this has some kind of archaic and kind of regional language, but it seemed like a kind of neat thing. You want my bars to like a hat?
I'm good.
Okay. We're getting sunned out here. Could you maybe read a little bit of this? You don't have to read the entire thing, but just to kind of give us a sense of what Estonian sounds like in connected form.
Yeah.
And then any final remarks you'd like to make for viewers at home.
Üle lentsi linnukene, üle lentsi ilma kõige, üle ilma suure järve, üle ilmatse keriku. Otsis maad munetes anna, aset hauteles anna. Ei saanud maad munetes anna, aset hauteles anna. And then it just repeats. Is that enough?
Yeah, I think so. And that's from a very cool story about like a bird that lays an egg that
Tries to find a nest, I guess.
yeah. And I guess it lays eggs that become different parts of the world or something like that.
Yeah, actually yes.
And the bird part is the lin, right? And that's like lind in Finnish. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's
Lintu in Finnish.
lintu in Finnish. That's another thing that you notice between Estonian and Finnish is Estonian often has like one syllable less or one letter less. So like also the numbers like yksi, kaksi, kolme, you say
1, 2, 3.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is almost super predictable, but also like in a lot of endings on nouns too, right? Like In Estonian, I see a woman as ma, na, and naist, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think in Finnish that's like naista.
Yeah, I guess so. Or mä näen naisen.
Oh, naisen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so Finnish has an extra, basically letter almost at the end of most words relative to Estonian.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Usually a vowel, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Just that apocryphy. Pretty regular, pretty predictable, but obviously enough to make these very different languages that I think have different feels.
Yeah.
You think that's right, or?
Yeah. I think Estonian, sounds kind of, like you're singing all the time in comparison with Finnish. If you listen to Estonians, it sounds really cool.
I agree with that. It is a very cool sounding language. Kind of
It's
like
soft.
yeah.
Much softer than Finnish.
It's definitely musical, and that's definitely a compliment to the language. It's a pretty language. Well, thank you so much, Aita.
Aita.
And from me and my, what should I call you? My eesti keele õpetaja?
Yes, eesti keele õpetaja.
Eesti keele õpetaja. Here in beautiful, surprisingly sunny Finland. Wishing you all the best.